Okay, I'd like to welcome everybody to the Town of Grand Falls-Windsor Council meeting on December 17th, 2024. First thing I'll do is call the meeting to order, and we'll look for a resolution to approve the agenda. Councillor Hiscock, seconded by Councillor Noel. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Contrary minded? Resolution passed. We don't have any proclamations this evening, so we will move on to the adoption of the minutes. So, looking for a resolution to adopt the minutes from the meeting of November 19th.
So moved.
Moved by Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor Little. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Contrary minded? Resolution passed. Any business arising out of the minutes? No business arising. Okay, community services, no business to take care of. We'll move on to Public Works and Development. Public Works Buildings and Facilities, which is Councillor Dwyer. We do have a couple of information notes there. I think, Councillor Dwyer, you're going to combine those?
Yes, I am.
Okay, when you're ready.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to update council and residents on an analysis that Public Works and Development staff conducted on the Saturday public drop-off. It's important. These events are subsidized by the town at a cost of $6,000 per event. With 18 events per year, it costs $108,000. So they looked at the data in 2023 and 2024 in terms of tonnage and vehicles. In 2023, there were almost 3,700 vehicles. Up to October 2024, there were about 300 less than 2023, but it was anticipated to be close to the 2023 figure by year end. In terms of tonnage, total tonnage increased by 8 tons, and more of it in 2024 was sorted, so a positive shift. In addition to looking at vehicles and tonnage, they looked at which events have historically been most popular in order to determine if the number of events and the frequency should be adjusted. So based on the analysis, the Saturday drop-off schedule for 2025 introduces changes to the frequency of events during the winter months. And while we will be maintaining 18 events throughout the year, the new schedule eliminates an event immediately following the spring cleanup. And in previous years, the Saturday drop-off events were held once a month during the winter. For 2025, the schedule shifts to a 3-week rotation from January to March to provide a more consistent service for residents when it's used the most. So the 3-week rotation during the winter months ensures residents have more regular opportunities to dispose of waste during the colder months, improving our service consistency. And eliminating the post-cleanup event reduces redundancy and maximizes operational efficiency. So the first Saturday drop-off event for 2025 is going to be held on January the 4th, and then January 25th will be the next one, 3 weeks after the first one. And so we're happy to say that we will be maintaining the 18 events. It's a very valuable service program that we provide, and it's valued by our residents, and we'll continue to provide that service.
Thank you, Councillor Dwyer. Okay, we will move on to Planning and Development. We've got several resolutions to deal with. We'll do those, of course, one at a time. And Councillor Hiscock, being the lead for that, you can take it away with the first resolution when you're ready, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that council award the engineering design work for the Andrews Crescent water tank in the amount of $72,077.40, HST included, to CBCL Limited.
Okay, it's been moved by Councillor Hiscock, seconded by Councillor Cody. Any discussion on the first resolution? Councillor Hiscock.
Yeah, just a little bit of clarification. Mr. Mayor, if I may, we had an ROV inspection done on that tank in July, and he found some deficiencies within the standpipe. So this work will actually alleviate that problem, because if anything happened to the standpipe, sections of our town would be under low water pressure, if anything happened. And the great thing of this, Mr. Mayor, is that it's no cost to the town. This will be absorbed by the Canadian Community Building Fund. So it's great news when we can get work done like that, Mr. Mayor, with no cost to the community of Grand Falls-Windsor. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Councilor Hiscock. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we've got a mover and a seconder. All those in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Resolution passed. Okay, Councilor Hiscock, resolution number 2, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that council award the engineering design work for the Andrews Crescent Water Systems Control upgrade in the amount of $85,051.70, HST included, to CBCL Limited.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilor Hiscock, seconded by Councilor Knoll. Any discussion on the second resolution? Councilor Hiscock.
If I may, Mayor, just a little clarification. Right now, we have dual 75 horsepower single-stage pumps. So when these pumps are activated, they come on one time full force. And by doing that, it causes a little bit of a glitch sometimes within our water treatment plant. By the new design now will be variable speed pumps, so when you start them up, then you can adjust your flow as required, and is remotely controlled by our water treatment plant. And also, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to say that this is no cost to the town of Grand Falls-Windsor as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Hiscock. Yeah, good news all around. Okay, we've got a mover and a seconder. Any other discussion? Comments? All those in favor? Aye. Contrary minded? Resolution passed. The third resolution. Councilor Hiscock, you're a busy man tonight.
Yeah, I move that council approves the application for cost-shared funding through the Canada Housing Infrastructure Fund. Call for application, the amount of $3,100,015, HST included. The funding ratio is expected to be 50% federal, 33% provincial, and 70% town. The town of Grand Falls-Windsor agreed to provide its share of the cost-sharing fund at $527,003, including HST. For this project should be selected for funding, and acknowledges that project costs above the approved project total cost will be the sole responsibility of the town of Grand Falls-Windsor.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilor Hiscock, seconded by Councilor Little. Any discussion on the third resolution? Councilor Hiscock.
If I may, Mr. Mayor, the town has received funding from the federal government under the Housing Accelerator Fund to assist with our affordable housing shortage. According to HART report completed for the town of Grand Falls-Windsor September 24th, 2024, there's a growing need for smaller homes by 2031. Grand Falls-Windsor is projected to require additional 960 1- to 2-person homes. And by doing this here, Mr. Mayor, we're given an increase of 1- or 2-bedroom housing. The town has forwarded several possible development areas throughout the town, one of being off the Lincoln Road area. So, and this currently has a 100-millimeter water line, so it's not sufficient for the flow that it's going to need. So this will help with that, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, no, thanks for that clarification. And, you know, this is something that's, well, we'll hear some other similar resolutions tonight when it comes to housing acceleration. And it's interesting to hear, not surprising to anybody, I wouldn't say, that the family sizes are going down with the need for more 1- to 2-person homes as opposed to the larger homes, which the need for is going to go down. So it just speaks to the need for our diversity in housing in town. And we've been talking a lot, of course, in this chamber and in meetings and in public about the Housing Accelerator Fund, our own work that we've done proactively with regulations to be able to streamline things for not only developers but for citizens as well. And it's good news all around for sure. And these are pieces of land, obviously, that need to be secured in order to accommodate that development, and infrastructure in this case that needs to be put in place in order to allow that sort of development. Okay, any other comments or discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Contrary minded? Resolution passed. Councilor Hiscock, resolution number 4, please.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that council approve the allocation of $400,000 HST rebate included towards engineering design work from the Canada Community Building Fund.
It's been moved by Councillor Hiscock, seconded by Deputy Mayor Brown. Any discussion or clarification on that one? Councillor Hiscock.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just, some clarification on that. For the town to be prepared and ready to apply for funding programs as they become available, a bank of completed designs and estimations are required. Currently, we only have recreational projects ready for tender, and we need to get ahead with the infrastructure upgrade design related work so we can capitalize on available funding. The need for shovel-ready projects is necessary and requires an investment in engineering design and services, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, and that's obviously, you hear a lot of that from government agencies, and we know the funding from government often comes out very quick and has to be spent very quickly, and therefore that's why we need shovel-ready projects. And in this case, we're looking towards some public works projects to have ready to go if and when the funding becomes available, so we can put the applications forward. Before I ask for any more discussion on this, unrelated somewhat, I just want to let people who may be watching know that there's been legislative changes now that are coming into effect for the province, for municipalities, and we are running our meetings differently than before, as we are required to do. And as such, instead of having chair people for each of the committees, we do have leads for different, I guess, parts of the operations. And Councillor Hiscock, as an example, is the planning and development lead, and thus is speaking to this. And we'll see other leads do the same for other different parts of the organization. I just want to point that out in case people are wondering why things look and sound kind of different this evening with the way things are flowing. Okay, so we do have a mover and a seconder. Any other comments on that? All those in favor? Aye. Contrary-minded? Okay. Next up, we have the permit summary update and information note. Councillor Hiscock.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, just to bring our residents up to speed, Mr. Mayor. The permit data for October 2024 reflects an estimated value of work associated with issued permits showing $553,700 across 13 permits. This is lower than October 23, where permits represent a higher value of $2.923 million over 12 permits, majority of which was for new commercial permits. For the year to date, however, we observe a key trend in increased residential development, which is crucial in addressing our housing demands. Just some key comparisons there, Mr. Mayor, if I might. October of 24, 13 permits representing estimated $553,700 work value. Commercial 1 permit extension with a work value of $96,800, and residential new 1 permit for $300,000. So, and it's ongoing, Mr. Mayor. It's a great thing that the residents of Grand Falls-Windsor should know is that the tide is changing, and there's lots of development coming within Grand Falls-Windsor, and there's more and more coming within 2025. Thank you, Mr.
Yeah, for sure, we'll see those permit summaries increase in future years. For one thing, you know, the need for land is so great. There's not a whole lot of land that's been available in Grand Falls-Windsor, and it's, you know, from people on the outside looking in, sometimes you say, well, we're surrounded by all kinds of land, and there's land everywhere, but there are other factors involved, and including the cost of infrastructure, and, you know, being closer to existing infrastructure is obviously less expensive. You also have crown lands, private land that's owned. Sometimes that's encumbered for development. And then there are other factors like, you know, just the flows for certain infrastructure when it comes to having services that don't require, I guess, the extra lift stations and all the other things that may come with a development in an area that is just not conducive. So that's why we've been through the exercise of identifying all these pieces of land, as we've asked staff to do, which all are developable. And that's why we've been going through those and kind of discussing them. And as you can see, some are going to be moving to the Crown Lands process as well, and any time that happens, just for, again, people's understanding, when any time things go for rezoning, we do have legislative process as well, and there's, you know, an opportunity for people to provide feedback, and public meeting also is required in some cases. So just some further information. So thanks for that information. Is there any other comments on that? No comments. We'll move to the next resolution. I'll say number 5, and has to do with 17 Petal Drive. Councilor Hiscock, when you're ready, please.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that council recommend not permitting the use of Crown land for residential gardening, as the land has not been rezoned and may be required for the proposed subdivision development.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilor Hiscock, seconded by Councilor Knoll. Any comments on that one? If you want to clarify again, Councilor Hiscock.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The land has been recently identified to be rezoned residential, but is not yet officially rezoned. The lot is situated near the location of a newly proposed subdivision, which is in the planning stages. The developer of this subdivision may require the same Crown land for the development, or may develop close to this area, and granting this application at this time could create conflicts with future plans.
Yep, thank you. I guess the short way of explaining that is that it's not zoned for that activity now, thus council is unable to approve it, even if we wanted to. So zoning changes may be coming, and then we may be entertaining such a request again. Okay, we have a mover and a seconder. Do we have any other discussion on 17 Petal? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Contrary minded? Resolution passed. Councilor Hiscock, resolution number 6, please.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that council approve the sale of backland at 28 Hardy Avenue to Halipoo Holdings LP in accordance with the town's land sale policy.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilor Hiscock, seconded by Councilor Little. Any discussion or clarification required on that one, Councilor Hiscock?
Yep. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just clarification on it. Halipoo Holdings plans to consolidate its equipment, small boats, engines, gear, trailers, in a secure storage yard at this location, replacing multiple rented storage facilities spread across the region. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you for that. Any other discussion or comments on that resolution? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Contrary minded? Resolution passed. Resolution number 7. Councilor Hiscock, when you're ready, please.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that council approve the acquisition of Crown land adjacent to Sunset Drive in the amount of $77,200 plus HST.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilor Hiscock, seconded by Councilor Dwyer. Any discussion on the resolution?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, thank you. This is a parcel of land that the town has been looking at, and the land will be utilized for future residential development, supporting the town's long-term growth and planning strategies in that area. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, thank you. And as I referred to earlier, you know, there's a lot of areas that you may see rezoning start on that council have been looking at for that very purpose. Okay. We've got a mover and a seconder. Any other conversation or discussion on that? All those in favor? Aye. Contrary minded? Resolution passed. Resolution number 8. Councilor Hiscock, when you're ready, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. They gave me a lot of paperwork. Okay. Here we go. Finally, sir.
Okay.
I move the council approve, no, hang on, sorry, that's mine number 8, is yours number 7.
9.9 is listed
Yeah, it's the
on
one
the
in the book,
agenda,
sorry,
right?
Mr. Mayor.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. I move that council approve the acquisition of Crown land on Main Street West in the amount of $121,800 plus HST.
Okay, moved by Councilor Hiscock, Second by Deputy Mayor Brown. Any comments or discussion there? Councillor Hiscock?
Yes. Thank you, Mayor. Just basically, it's the higher density residential development area that we're looking at. And like we spoke about earlier, Mr. Mayor, we want to have all of our ducks in a row, so when developers come in to do some work, and they come to the town of Grand Falls, Windsor saying, where can I build or what's available? We have all this work done in advance so that when these developers come in, we're ready to go.
Exactly.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
And another related thing to that is sometimes there's land already owned by developers that needs to be rezoned, and they come forward with that as well. So you'll see both situations quite often. Okay, we've got a mover and a seconder. Any more discussion on the resolution? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Contrary-minded? Resolution passed. Okay. Resolution number 9. Councillor Hiscock, when you're ready, please.
Thank you, Mayor. I got to switch over to the iPad now, so keep your fingers crossed that this don't go
might
the
blow
other
up.
way for me.
It may blow up.
If I tilt it, sorry. I move that council approve the purchase of 305A Grenfell Heights at the countered offer price of $70,000 as outlined in the agreement of purchase and sale, subject to the town council's final approval.
Okay, it's been moved by Councillor Hiscock, seconded by Councillor Little. Any discussion on the resolution? Councillor Hiscock.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, that is 2.94 acres of land that we have earmarked on the Grenfell Heights area for future development. There's a piece of property that came available, and I thought the town, or we all thought the council, the town would be prudent to purchase this land to free it up that will ensure that we have some area available for future development.
Yes, it's located next to an existing easement, I believe, and opens up access to a fair amount of land that could be used for development, as Councillor Hiscock had said. Okay, any other discussion on that one? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Contrary-minded? Resolution passed. Resolution number 10, Councillor Hiscock. Merry
Thank you, Mr.
Christmas,
Mayor.
by the way.
People are going to be sick of hearing me if they're not already. I move council under the authority of Section 16 of the Urban and Rural Planning Act 2000 adopt amendment number 12, 2024 to the Town of Grand Falls, Windsor Municipal Plan and adopt the amendment number 17, 2024 to the Grand Falls, Windsor Development Regulations 2022-2032.
Okay, it's been moved by Councillor Hiscock. Second by Deputy Mayor Brown. Any discussion or explanation on that resolution?
Yes,
Councillor
Mr.
Hiscock.
Mayor, that's a parcel of land that we were asked by the residents in that area, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Chapman, yeah. Residents in that area asked us to rezone that area. And basically, it's municipal plan number 12, 2024, redesigning land for future land use map from natural open space to urban residential and industrial to rural residential, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, and just to provide a further explanation on that, that's land that has already been used by a lot of these residents for years, and maybe even some came as a surprise that maybe it was zoned the way it was. And it's not infringing on any buffer zones when it comes to Rushy Pond, and that area is fairly close to that, but it's not any kind of infringement. So we got also a mover and a seconder. Looking at another note here now. Any other discussion on that one, or comment, explanation, all that kind of stuff? Lovely new format, isn't it? Okay, we got a mover and a seconder. All those in favor? Aye. Contrary-minded? Resolution passed. Resolution number 11. Councillor Hiscock, please.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that council under the authority of Section 16 of the Urban and Rural Planning Act 2000 adopt the amendment number 14, 2024 to the Town of Grand Falls, Windsor Municipal Plan and adopt the amendment number 19, 2024 to the Grand Falls, Windsor Development Regulations 2022-2032. 2032.
Okay, it's been moved by Counselor Hiscock, seconded by Counselor Dwyer. Any explanation for that one, Counselor Hiscock?
Yes, Mayor, thank you. The Town of Grand Falls-Windsor received a request to rezone a parcel of land on 13th Avenue, formerly owned by the Anglican Parish, for residential use. The land is currently designed as public use in the municipal plan and zoned according to the development regulations. The proposed amendments aim to Municipal Plan Amendment Number 14-2024, redesignate the parcel from public use to urban residential on the future generalized land use map, and Development Regulations Amendment Number 19, 2024, rezone the area from public use to residential RM1, high-density multi-use or multi-unit residential zone on the land use zoning map. Mr. Mayor.
Yep, that's a technical way of saying that we're going to rezone a parcel of land from commercial to residential. Public use. Okay, any other comment on that resolution? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Contrary-minded? Resolution passed. And finally, Counselor Hiscock, resolution number 12. You're ready, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that council not approve the rezoning request to change the parcel of land designation from industrial light to commercial general on Maloney Street.
Okay, it's been moved by Counselor Hiscock, seconded by Counselor Little. Counselor Hiscock, any discussion on that one?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, if I may. Our discussions with that land, we found out that what the developer proposed to do, this area of land wasn't conducive to what his needs were. And through work with Mr. Chapman and his department, the developer found a more suitable piece of land, I'm happy to say, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Works better for them, works better for the town as well. Okay, any other discussion on the last resolution under that particular area? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, contrary-minded? Resolution passed. Okay, we move now into corporate services, and we've got Counselor Cody, who's the lead for that. We've got several resolutions to deal with, including some budgetary items, which is the big item for this evening. But first, there's some other ones to deal with. Resolution number 1. Counselor Cody, when you're ready, please.
Thank you, Mayor. I propose council approve the purchase of a cross-country ski trail groomer from Equipment Track Incorporated in the amount of $268,841.56 plus HST.
Okay, it's been moved by Counselor Cody, seconded by Counselor Knoll. Any explanation you'd like to provide on that one, Counselor Cody?
Yes, so the existing snow groomer has outlived its useful life. It's been used now by the Exploits Nordic Ski Club for the past 12 years. We're unable to source parts for it any longer. The estimated life of the machine, or the age of the machine, is about 25 years, we're assuming, just based on information that we've been able to gather. So it's been difficult to maintain that, and we know how important that is to the operations of the ski trail. So the financial implications to the town are as follows. So the project is funded by ACOA and the province of Newfoundland and Labrador and the Exploits Nordic Ski Club. The town share is 15.6%. So the breakdown of that is ACOA is in for $89,611. The province of Newfoundland and Labrador, $67,209. The Exploits Nordic Ski Club, $70,000, and the town of Grand Falls-Windsor, $42,013. Again, I move that the award go to Equipment Track Incorporated. The total amount again, $268,841.56 plus HST.
Okay, thank you, Counselor Cody. Any other discussion or comment on that resolution? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Contrary-minded? Resolution passed. Okay, we do have a couple of reports to table information-wise, labor report and disbursement report. Counselor Cody, when you're ready, please.
Thank you. So the labor report prepared up to November 27th, 2024. Labor costs as of week 47 were presented to council for their information. The annual budget is broken down to expected costs by week and compared to actual costs throughout the year. The budget implications as of week 47, total labor costs are $3,533,550, which is 5.5% under budget, which amounts to savings of $207,145. Our seasonal employees were laid off after week 44 and are now called in on an as-needed basis. Management will continue to monitor labor costs as we head into the final month of the year.
Okay, any discussion on the labor report? Okay, we can move on to the disbursement report. Councillor Cody.
Thank you. So the information on the disbursement report was prepared by staff and reviewed by council. The summary of disbursements as of December 3rd, 2024 in the amount of $1,163,321.55.
Okay, any other discussion on the disbursement report or comments, questions? Hearing none, we will move along to the next resolution, which is dealing with council leads. Councillor Cody, please.
Thank you. So this one is dealing with the approval of updated councillor lead appointments, which is in accordance with the new Towns and Local Service Districts Act, and the way we conduct our meetings. So council is now required to provide an updated list of the councillor lead appointments and alternates for 2024, and effective immediately in 2024. The proposed resolution for council is that the councillor appointments to committees and as department leads for 2024-2025 effective immediately are: primary leads, Deputy Mayor Mike Brown for Community Services, Economic Development; Councillor Little, Community Services, Recreation and Events; Councillor Dwyer, Public Works and Development, Public Works, Buildings and Facilities; Councillor Hiscock, Public Works and Development, Planning and Development; Councillor Cody, Corporate Services, Finance, Administration and Policy; Councillor Knoll, Protective Services, Municipal Enforcement and Fire Department. So the town of Grand Falls-Windsor is introducing a new departmental lead structure for councillors as part of its response to the requirements under the Towns and Local Service District Act, which comes into effect in January 2025. Under this structure, department leads will represent their assigned departments or committees in council business, report to council on developments and issues within their respective areas, facilitate discussions during committee and regular council meetings or on relevant topics requiring decisions or information sharing. And this change is aimed at ensuring compliance with the legislation and aligning governance practices with the new framework. A complete list of council appointments, including alternates, advisory committee representatives, and external organization appointments, will be made available on the Town of Grand Falls-Windsor website. So I move the approval of the updated councillor lead appointments and alternates for 2024-25 as presented, effective immediately.
Okay, it's been moved by Councillor Cody, seconded by Councillor Dwyer. Any discussion on that resolution? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Contrary-minded? Resolution passed. Okay, now we will move into the budget part of the meeting, which is always also laid out in resolutions. So it'll be three separate resolutions, as there are two where we will need to have councillors remove themselves for perceived conflict of interest as per the legislation. So the first resolution, Councillor Cody again would be the lead for these, is for Budget 2025 and the item that deals with the Grand Falls Golf Club. So I'll ask the Deputy Mayor if he would excuse us for this. Councillor Cody, when you're ready, please.
Thank you, Mayor. I propose that council approve $27,000 for the Grand Falls Golf Club for 2025.
Okay, it's been moved by Councillor Cody, second by Councillor Knoll. Any discussion on the resolution?
Yes, I'll just break it down. The $25,000 amount of that operating grant is as per an agreement between the town of Grand Falls-Windsor and the Grand Falls Golf Club. And the remaining $2,000 is a grant for the junior golf program that we have been supplying them with for several years as well.
Okay. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Contrary minded? Resolution passed. If someone could ask the Deputy Mayor to come in. And I will remove myself for the next item of business. Pass this along to the Deputy Mayor. Sir.
Okay, let the minute reflect the mayor has left the meeting. For this part, then, Councillor Cody, please.
Thank you. I propose that council approve the 2025 operating grant for the Corduroy Brook Enhancement Association in the amount of $80,000.
Can I get a seconder for the Councillor Knoll? Thank you. Any discussion on the motion? Go ahead, Councillor Cody.
Thank you. So the Corduroy Brook Enhancement Association had asked for additional funds this year for consideration in the 2025 annual budget to help alleviate operating losses that they have sustained in the last several years. The budget for the 2025 year for Corduroy Brook Enhancement Association shows a deficit of approximately $100,000 without any funding from the town. So council obviously considered, those implications and that amount of money necessary to continue the operations at Corduroy Brook Enhancement Association, and weighed that against what it would cost the town to have to take over those operations and maintain that trail system with our town resources and town employees. The Corduroy Brook Enhancement Association Trail is used by many of our residents and tourists, and has a huge impact on the economic development and tourism aspect of our community.
Thank you, Councillor Cody. Any other comments? I'll just add a few things. It is important, pardon? Oh, okay. It is important to note, too, that the Corduroy Brook Enhancement Association maintain their own trails. They do it themselves. Many other municipalities in the province have their town employees look after the trail, but not in this case. They look after their own trail. And, for example, in Gander, the Gander Town Council budgets at $200,000 for their trail. In Corduroy Brook, they budget $150,000 for their trail. So I think we're still getting a deal by budgeting $80,000 for the trail system in Grand Falls-Windsor. It's a world-class trail, and the expenses in maintaining the trail have risen significantly in the past number of years. And over the past number of years, too, the Corduroy Brook Enhancement Association Nature Center has become a busy spot and a busy and a popular destination for students in Grand Falls-Windsor and throughout central Newfoundland. And these students learn how to protect the environment. They learn what habitat is required to maintain wildlife throughout the trail. And they also run nature camps throughout the summer, which are well attended and provide educational opportunities that would otherwise not be available. It's clear to us, I think, in council, that Corduroy Brook provides a multiple of benefits to our town. It is a go-to destination for our residents on a daily basis. Hundreds of people walk that trail on a daily basis. And when people are considering moving to Grand Falls-Windsor, the trail system is a very attractive amenity. Councillor Dwyer?
Something similar. We did look at other communities and how much they're contributing, and it was significantly more for less. 2 or 3 kilometer trail system in Gander, $200,000. And so what that trail contributes to our residents and our community is an awful lot. And if we were to do it ourselves, we looked at what that would cost our community, and it would be significantly more. We have difficulty maintaining the trail system at Gorge Park, and we've had a number of residents, this past year, for example, ask us to fix aspects of the trail that needed work, and it took us some time to get to that work, to have it done. And we don't hear those same complaints with Corduroy Brook because, that's what they do, and they're really good at it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Dwyer. Anybody else? Councillor Knoll.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to chime in on that as well. Lots of times you really can't see the forest for the trees. In this case, you really can't see the gem for the park that we have there. It's a tremendous asset to the town of Grand Falls-Windsor. It's an opportunity to get people off the Trans-Canada Highway, which we aim to do, to bring them into town, to show them what we have. But it's also an opportunity to grow. I think the funding that's allocated will help Corduroy Brook become an even better destination. And when people are talking about, I'm going to Newfoundland for a vacation, I'm heading down east, where am I going to stop? Some suggestions. And going forward, this will be on people's itinerary to stop in Grand Falls-Windsor. And this money will definitely help create that opportunity for Corduroy Brook, which is then going to benefit us here in Grand Falls-Windsor, and all the residents will benefit from the investment, I think. Thanks.
They already benefit from the investment. It's also important to note that the Corduroy Brook Enhancement Association employs 20 to 30 people from Grand Falls-Windsor on a seasonal basis, and people look forward to that income to live. And it's been mostly the same people who have been employed seasonally over the years, and they do add new ones as the years go by as well. Any more? Councillor Dwyer.
Yeah, just one more thing. Those trails are no cost. If you look at what we spend on the Zamboni, we hardly blink because the stadiums have to have a Zamboni. But an investment of $80,000, and it is significant, but it is very valued and worth it.
No, that's right. And I'll say again, it costs other municipalities twice and 3 times as much to operate their trail system as the Corduroy Brook Enhancement Association cost the town of Grand Falls-Windsor and the taxpayers much, much less. Any more comments? There being no further comments, we got a mover and a seconder. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Should I ask the mayor to come back in, please? Please.
Okay. So we are resolution of this evening. Before we get into other business, so this is Budget 2025, and I'll ask Councillor to present that as our esteemed finance representative.
Thank you, Mayor. So as a corporate services lead, I present the 2025 municipal operating budget for the town of Grand Falls-Windsor. This year's budget is balanced at $24,241,730. The budget reflects the town's commitment to maintaining quality services and driving forward strategic initiatives that will enhance the community. These services include snow clearing, garbage collection, fire and enforcement protection, road maintenance, and water and sewer services. Our Community Services Department also planned numerous events and programs for our residents and tourists alike. In Grand Falls-Windsor, we want you to feel connected to our community. As a municipality, we face the same rising costs as everyone else. And while this budget includes a property tax increase of $1 million, it is necessary in order to address these rising costs. It costs more now for equipment, services, labor, and materials. It costs more for infrastructure and electricity. It costs more to operate our town. This is the first residential mill rate increase since 2019. This 1 mil adjustment ensures that we can meet rising costs while continuing to invest in projects and services that benefit everyone. With that said, the town of Grand Falls-Windsor remains the lowest among comparable communities in terms of taxation per average household. While our mill rate is higher, the average property assessment value in Grand Falls-Windsor is lower than most other municipalities in the province. The town remains dedicated to providing excellent value to residents and ensuring that our community continues to grow and thrive. The commercial mill rate associated with property tax will remain unchanged for 2025. However, to ensure equitable contributions across all sectors, some categories of businesses, including department stores, banks, and personal care homes, will see a slight increase. These adjustments are necessary to balance the budget while continuing to realign our tax categories to better suit different types of businesses. All other businesses' tax rates remain the same for 2025, as does the water and sewer fee for all residents and businesses. Council priorities for 2025 include 4 key areas: growth, infrastructure, protective services, and recreation. These investments are designed to improve the quality of life for all residents and position Grand Falls-Windsor for continued success. To address the growing demand for housing and to attract new residents, the town will pursue initiatives aimed at expanding housing options. Under the Housing Accelerator Fund, the town has received $4.6 million in funding and plans to create 198 living units by March 2027. To support this anticipated housing growth, the town has budgeted for an additional building inspector and an additional GIS planning technician from this funding. Additionally, there have been funds earmarked for the option of enabling longer work seasons for seasonal parks and public works employees, so we're better able to respond to the necessary maintenance of the town infrastructure and public spaces. Town staff are frequently in discussions with the leadership of various businesses to bring more commercial growth to the town, and we feel positive that residents will see benefits of those decisions soon and those discussions soon. These discussions, combined with our focus on future housing development and possible expansions in mining and massive opportunity of wind energy beginning, means growth is sure to follow. Under infrastructure, asset management and water infrastructure improvements are high priorities. A new asset management coordinator position is included in this budget, along with advancement and investment in advanced GIS technology to enhance the town's planning and maintenance capabilities. This focus allows the town to more effectively schedule the replacement of town infrastructure. Adding an asset management coordinator position will allow the town to advance the asset management program for compiling value, age, and condition information relative to our town assets and help us make better decisions when setting priorities for replacing and upgrading infrastructure. And it additionally enables the town to remain eligible for funding that comes from the Canada Community Building Fund, formerly known as gas tax. Rising costs of chemicals for water treatment and the inclusion of another employee at the water treatment plant will ensure the continued delivery of safe, clean water. This is a regional service that is paid for on a per capita basis with other communities in the central Newfoundland area. The town of Grand Falls-Windsor has applied for funding from the federal government for an estimated $7 million in capital improvements to our water treatment plant, and we have gotten favorable feedback so far. If approved, this will be a significant and necessary investment in the facility and its equipment. Protective services. The security and safety of our residents remain paramount. A new municipal enforcement officer position is included in this budget to strengthen enforcement efforts, and the firefighter honorarium has been budgeted to increase by approximately $50,000 to support and recognize our dedicated volunteer firefighters. An additional $50,000 has also been allocated for the purpose of undertaking a comprehensive fire services review to enhance long-term planning and operations. Recreation. The budget includes funding for expanded community events and the progression of the community center project. Furthermore, the labor budgeted for our stadiums is increasing by approximately $105,000 to a total of $365,000 to accommodate the longer operating season, and an additional $90,000 has been allocated for the maintenance of parks and trails, ensuring these spaces remain accessible and enjoyable year-round. Revenue for 2025 will total $24.2 million. As always, the majority, which is approximately 90% of this amount, represents taxation. Grand Falls-Windsor continues to grow, as evidenced by the value of permits issued in 2024. There were approximately $9 million in commercial construction value generated and approximately $6 million in residential construction value. As we head towards 2025 with new incentive programs in place for residential development, we hope to exceed these amounts in the coming years. Some businesses will notice a small change in their mill rate this year to ensure equitable contributions across all sectors. Other than this, all other business taxes remain the same for 2025. The 2025 schedule of rates and fees, which includes all rental fees, permit fees, and tax rates, will soon be available on our website at grandfallswindsor.com. Expenditures for the 2025 operating budget are projected to be $24.2 million, a 9% increase over the 2024 budget. 1/3 of these expenses relate to an increased capital out of revenue, which has been lower in recent years to preserve costs. This year, the capital out of revenue has been budgeted at $1,093,418, an increase of $658,677 over 2024. This figure helps keep our capital costs and related borrowing low. Most of the remaining increases come from the Public Works and Development Department, which takes care of most of the services that residents enjoy every day, such as snow clearing, water supply and distribution, sewage collection and disposal, garbage collection and disposal, in addition to maintenance on parks and green spaces. Costs within the department have increased by over $1 million, which is mainly due to the rising costs of water chemicals, the increased maintenance of parks and facilities, the increased cost of garbage disposal, and additional labor costs as noted above. Capital expenditures in 2025. The town of Grand Falls-Windsor continues to invest significantly in our infrastructure and equipment, and that will continue in 2025. Our total amount of capital spending projected for 2025 is approximately $14.8 million, with anticipated funding from various government agencies expected to cover approximately $9.6 million of that total. The total investment is expected to grow in our 5-year plan as we continue to plan for significant projects such as a community center and Gorge Park Phase 2 development. Work planned for 2025 includes continued investment in our equipment replacement strategy, which started in 2019. The plan regularly requires changes as we evaluate equipment that is scheduled to be replaced. On the list for 2025 is a loader, a lawnmower, and a backhoe. Resurfacing of the basketball court at Shannon Didit Centennial Park, investment into existing stadiums, an ice plant upgrade in both the Joe Byrne Memorial Stadium and Windsor Stadium, and a dehumidification unit in the Windsor Stadium. Smaller equipment such as an ice edger, floor scrubber, and new speed signs, attachments for existing equipment such as a new wiggle wagon, which is a tow-behind spreader for a trackless municipal tractor for sidewalk, snow and ice control, a dump for a flyer truck, and a trailer for our new mower. We've had initial discussions with the government regarding funding for a community center and continue to progress on starting this project. This will be a transformative project for Grand Falls-Windsor and for central Newfoundland. Several water and sewer infrastructure projects, in addition to the 2025 street paving program, ATV trails and enhancements around the Exploits Nordic Ski Club, including a new groomer, snowmaking equipment for the sliding hill, and other upgrades. Mr. Mayor and Council and residents of Grand Falls-Windsor, I present to you the 2025 municipal operating budget. We've taken great strides to minimize the impacts on our residents and to ensure our operations remain effective and comprehensive. It's about balance. We have created a budget that ensures we remain fiscally responsible while building a brighter future for Grand Falls-Windsor. Grand Falls-Windsor has always been a community that prioritizes quality of life. This budget allows us to make meaningful investments in areas that matter most to our residents while ensuring the town remains fiscally sustainable. Together, we're building a stronger, more vibrant future. I move that Council adopt the 2025 municipal operating budget and related 2025 schedule of rates and fees. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, it's been moved by Councillor Cody, seconded by Councillor Dwyer. I know that Councillor Cody, I'm going to ask you if you would like to comment first on the budget being the lead.
Sure. I just want to highlight a couple of areas, and one in particular that I really want to focus on is the volunteer firefighter honorarium program adjustments. And I know when you talk about equipment and grants and stadium upgrades and things like that, you might not think about a firefighter honorarium. But these volunteer, and I stress volunteer firefighters, are an integral part of our community in keeping our residents safe and protected, along with our municipal enforcement officers, and again, a position added for the MEOs. But I just wanted to highlight, of the $50,000 allocated for volunteer firefighter honorarium, the weekend on-call rate has increased from $30 a day to $50 a day. And again, I mean, when you look at and hear these amounts of what we are paying volunteer firefighters to protect our community to what it's being increased to, is still not huge amounts. But overall, we hope that it will make a difference to the operation of the volunteer firefighter program. Training hours increased from $15 an hour to $20 an hour. And if you've heard the fire chiefs report annually on the amount of training hours that these firefighters put in on their own time to make sure that they are skilled and up to date and can protect their community the best way, you know, that they can, while also being known how to protect themselves. So that's increasing from $15 an hour to $20 an hour. Fire prevention training increased from $5 an hour to $20 an hour, and the fire chief coverage increased from $25 a day to $75 a day. So that represents a $50,000 increase in the honorarium that is now budgeted at a total of $201,000. When you think about the amount of volunteer firefighters we have, the work that they do, the value they bring to the community, $201,000 is not very much money. Again, upgrades for the water treatment plant in 2025, the addition of orthophosphate injection system, replacement of alum tanks, inspection of the main water line, construction of a drying bed for flock disposal, replacement of filters, upgrades to the PLC program, refurbishment of the storage backwater tank. Again, let's see, what else did I want to highlight here? Protective services, again, adding a municipal police officer that will just strengthen our enforcement efforts, being able to be more visible in the community, increased hours, being able to patrol in the community, to be involved in community events, build a rapport with our residents, involved in, with the children in the school system, things like that. Everything that you want to have in community policing. Adding a municipal enforcement officer now will just be able to enhance that for our community as well, and give our residents a little bit of extra comfort knowing that our community is protected. Again, under recreation, talks of a community center. There's a lot of studies that have to be done before we're able to move forward with the proposed community center. We know the value that a new community center will bring to the community, but we have to have the facts and figures and data to back that up before we make the decision to move ahead on that program. So, of course, there's funding allocated for that. And while that's happening, we have to maintain our existing aging infrastructure. And when I say aging, we all know it's aging. Just this past year, we've had issues with the plant, with the ice, with the dehumidification, in the stadiums. We have requests now to keep the ice down longer, to put the ice down earlier. There's camps happening all the time, so there's a huge demand on our existing infrastructure, and it costs money to maintain that, and those fees aren't going down. That's, it's increasing every year. We can plan and we can budget for, but we're always knocked down with some surprise that comes out of the blue that, we're forced to act on immediately to make sure that we can service our residents. So that's just a couple of things that I want to highlight. I know the rest of council will certainly have lots of comments, and I can certainly stand again at the end and provide any additional clarification, but just wanted to just highlight some of those areas there before we move on.
Thank you, Councillor Cody. Any other comments? Deputy Mayor Brown.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a few comments. Councillor Cody did cover most of them. But the $4.6 million with the goal of creating 198 living units by 2027 in Grand Falls-Windsor is certainly a priority. We're at the point now where it's very difficult to find a place to live in Grand Falls-Windsor, and certainly this $4.6 million will help alleviate that issue. Councillor Cody mentioned the new municipal enforcement officer. That will give an added presence on the streets of Grand Falls-Windsor, in particular in the evenings. And I think we need to continue to lobby the Minister of Justice with respect to the authority of municipal enforcement officers, and giving them extra authority throughout our municipalities should be our priority for us too as well, Mr. Mayor. $1.9 million committed to upgrade our aging equipment like the loader and the backhoe, Councillor Cody mentioned, among other items. And certainly the budgeting of $3.6 million for street paving and upgrades to our water, storm and sanitary sewer systems is certainly badly needed. We could almost spend 10 times that much to upgrade what needs to be upgraded, but we'll pick away at it as the money becomes available, and keep continuing to upgrade, especially our storm and sanitary sewer systems. Thank you, Mayor. I will be voting in favor of the budget this evening. Thank you.
Mayor Brown. But just we'll go in order here, I think, now that we're started. Councillor Dwyer, if you're ready, and then Councillor Little.
Thank you, Mayor. Councillor Cody said that it's about balance. We've created a budget that ensures we remain fiscally responsible while building a brighter future in Grand Falls-Windsor. And I believe that to be the case. As we look ahead to 2025, there's a lot to be excited about, from housing initiatives to infrastructure improvements, talk of recreation facilities, and growing economic opportunities. We're building a brighter future together. So this budget reflects our dedication to ensuring Grand Falls-Windsor continues to grow and thrive and be a place where we're all proud to call home. $24.2 million, a balanced budget demonstrates sound financial stewardship while ensuring vital services, capital projects move forward. And, you know, as Councillor Cody said, the town of Grand Falls-Windsor is not immune to increased costs, just like businesses and households, and you and I are feeling the effects of inflation. The town does also. So we're managing significant increases in prices. Nelson can talk about our boom truck, which he wanted. Last year, estimated to be 200,000. What was the cost of it this year?
It was over $500,000.
Close to 700,000.
Yeah.
And so obviously we didn't forge ahead with that. But, you know, and just an example of the increasing costs that we have to endure. And just like Councillor Cody spoke about you know, sometimes we have issues with our stadiums and that sort of thing, and the costs are so significant, you know, and we have not been able to budget for. So it is clear that our dollar doesn't stretch as far as it once did. So the property tax increase, again, the first one since 2019, is implemented to address these rising costs responsibly. Some promising things, the Housing Accelerator Fund, as you spoke about, $4.6 million to increase almost 200 new housing units by 2027 is exciting, and will help ensure that we keep our residents here and that people who want to live and remain here and call this place home are able to do so. Partnerships with industries like mining shows our increased efforts in ensuring that we're a hub for innovation, but also, you know, partnerships in healthcare as well. We've done a lot in that respect, and we will continue to do that in the future. All of the investments that we've made really reflect a shared vision for a place where families and businesses and visitors and all of us can grow and thrive, hopefully for generations to come. That is our goal, that is our aim, and I will also be voting in favor of the budget this evening.
Thank you, Councillor Dwyer. Councillor Little.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd just like to start by, before getting into the highlights, is something that I think Council struggles with. I don't know if we discussed it directly, but you know, we try to avoid mill rate increases. You know, no one wants to do that, but we don't save any money by borrowing more money. So what we end up doing by, you know, if we try to avoid this again this year, we end up just kicking the issue down the road, and ultimately it costs us more money. You look at the boom truck, for example. You know, if we had addressed these issues before, maybe or councils in the past, maybe it could have saved us some money in the past. So by increasing the mill rate this year, we can invest in things like the stadiums, the equipment we're replacing, all those things, with the hopes that we save money in the future. So we have some money committed to the initial phases of the community center, which is a long-term project, but it'll allow us to hopefully get a plan in place to replace some of our aging infrastructure with our stadiums and our YMCA, provide a walking track down the road, and you know, hopefully this gets done in due time, so we don't have to keep pumping money into these aging facilities that we have. The enhancement to the honorarium program is a big highlight. Councillor Colby mentioned that one. That's a big one. Our firefighters are wonderful volunteers. They're always recruiting. So if anyone wants to get involved there, you can reach out. But the honorarium program it is a recruiting tool, but it's also more of a thank you tool for us towards those people. They do wonderful work, and we do want to recognize that. And I know when we have those discussions, it's always positive that our firefighters they are wonderful people. Investment in stadiums. Again, aging infrastructure, but both very necessary, both very full. We've had some issues at both stadiums over the last couple of years. And, you know, it's always a stressful time for people, for our staff and council, but more so for our staff, because people are expecting these things to be there all the time. And, you know, we need to put some money in now so we can avoid those issues and keep our stadiums and other recreation facilities going. And some additional money towards these parks and public works staff to maintain and prevent issues with our infrastructure and public spaces. You know, we had a list this year. I don't know how low the number got, but it was over 100 items on that list that needed to be done. I'm very confident they all never got done because we just ran out of time. We ran out of labor and time this year, like it just wasn't budgeted. And so hopefully with that increase in that season, we can get some of those things looked after. And preventative maintenance is much better than responding to issues as they arise. So, you know, we're getting better. I think we're getting better at planning ahead for these things and allowing the season to continue. I think we can address more things before they become a major issue. And that goes, and the planning, again, carries over into the new position in planning and the GIS and all that stuff. That's going to allow us to plan our community better and identify problems earlier so we can get those things, you know, addressed however we plan, however this council and council of the future plan to address those things. Those are up in the air, but at least we can identify the issues before they become a major issue and work towards remedying those things. Again, we don't take, obviously, the mill rate increases lightly, but in my opinion, in this case, it is necessary, and I am in support of the budget tonight.
Thank you, Councillor Little. Councillor Hiscock.
Thank you, Mayor. Looking at the budget, looking at everything going on within our town, we've been elected by the citizens of Grand Falls-Windsor to be financially fiscal, to get the best bang for the buck in our community. And I think this budget speaks volumes in that area. I would like to thank right now Mr. Mayor, if I would, our Director of Public Works and Development, Mr. Chapman and his team. Mr. Mercer is not here tonight with our Community Services and his team. And of course, especially our Minister of Finance, I like to call him, Mr. Goss and his team, because we discuss and we debate, and we've been at the budget for many, many hours throughout this. This is not a 5-minute thing. And we bring, the departments bring the concerns forward. We try to get the best bang we can. But it goes back to Mr. Goss and his team. He's got to figure out, crunch all the numbers and get it all out for us so that we can be as fiscally responsible as we can. So hats off to our team that make us look good. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Hiscock. Councillor Knoll.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Most everything's been iterated already, but again, I just want to reiterate a few things that I've found. You know, since becoming part of this council, I had no idea it was so busy, and we're getting busier. I mean, people talk about the town employees, the town staff being out and about, and I tell people, man, they don't stop from sun up to sundown, from spring until fall. But we notice that our springs and falls have been longer, the duration between them too. So hiring on new staff to facilitate the needs, requirements, and maintenance that goes within a growing town such as Grand Falls-Windsor is definitely something that we need within our budget discussions for 2025. The GIS position, we talked about this today, we live in the information society. The more we know, the better the decisions we're going to make. So hiring a GIS position, putting all our infrastructure in place, aging it, we'll make better decisions on what to replace, when to replace it. If we can have preemptive fixes and repairs before we have disasters, because a disaster is always going to cost us much, much more money. So preventive maintenance and a disaster relief, such as a GIS, I think is a tremendous opportunity for Grand Falls-Windsor to save money going forward. Some people might look at it and say, well, that's another position that you're creating within the town. But I personally think that it's a position that's well needed. It's going to save us money down on the road. I was flabbergasted to see how little some of our firefighting and protective services members receive for their training. To see their honorariums go up is just, I feel a whole lot better inside to give them, that's a financial pat on the back. We can't be out there every day to say thank you as much as we do whenever we see our protective services members, you know, the town MEOs and our volunteer firefighters. I mean, they go above and beyond, and you talk to people from other communities, and they have such respect for these people who in our town do so much. Like I said, I was amazed at how little, you know, over the years, there's been just so little increases, and maybe they're just, you know, not coming forward, or, you know, I don't know how to put it in words on their behalf, but for myself, I just want to say thank you for all we did. So an honorarium increase is well justified going forward. You know, most everything's been iterated again. We talked about the prices of all the equipment, Mr. Chapman. I mean, I in business as well. You know, we talked about an auction this weekend on Friday, and the prices have just gone through the roof. So nobody in this town is unaware of the cost increases. And you know, lots of times you talk about or talk to people, and we say 2018 things seem to be okay. In 2019, the bottom fell out of everything, and since that time, the prices have just gone up exponentially. When we look at the cost creating some of the best water in Canada, and I know Mr. Glendenny's not here tonight to give him a pat on the back as well, but I'm sure Nelson will. I mean, you know, we have tremendous water, even though from time to time we have the glitches and we have discolor water, which we have to work on diligently. But we have some of the best water in Canada, and the cost associated with maintaining that has continued to climb. So, I mean, the one mill rate, yeah, nobody wants to see a mill rate, as Councillor Little had alluded to, but in this case, it's just needed to maintain what we have. We're not going above and beyond to look for anything that's, you know, far-fetched, in my opinion. This is stuff that we've got to have. So I, too, will be supporting the budget. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Knoll. I guess that leaves me for some comments, and as Councillor Cody said, she may have some closing remarks as the mover of the budget, if she so chooses. Just made a few notes as we're going through. A lot of things already said. I really like what Councillor Little had to say, particularly about the costs. And, you know, it's easy to say, oh, well, we're not going to raise taxes even though we need to. And maybe there's an election coming up or something. And if we don't, we had to borrow that money. And borrowing that money, long-term implications are relevant. They're very relevant. And as Councillor Little said, there can be a case made very easily that by doing this as opposed to borrowing, we're actually saving money in the long term for the town. So I thought that was a great point. And, you know, I'll just add on to everybody else with regards to the firefighters. You know, our firefighters are heroes in our town. We know it. We acknowledge them as much as we possibly can. They are volunteers. And no matter what they get in honorarium, it's pittance compared to the effort they put in, the professionalism, the skill. And we've said it many times before, we put our fire department up against any professional department and be confident that they are as good, and in some cases better. So increase there is, in my eyes, easy to justify. You know, Councillor Dwyer said, and it was included in the budget, it's the first tax increase in Grand Falls-Windsor in the mill rate in 5 years. And, you know, sooner or later, I guess, they have to come. But it is important to repeat that when you look at the comparable communities to Grand Falls-Windsor, Gander, Corner Brook, you know, CBS, Mount Pearl, those, the average taxpayer in Grand Falls-Windsor pays less than those other communities, even with a higher mill rate, because of the property values. So, you know, if you take your $500,000 house in Grand Falls-Windsor and you plank it down in Paradise, well, the mill rate might be a couple of points lower, but you're paying a lot more for your taxes. So it is relevant. I know it's people don't see that, I guess, behind the scenes. The rising costs are unbelievable at the grocery store, at the gas pumps, everywhere. And we recognize that there's people in our town, like all towns, that are struggling. And we want to be responsive to that. And at the same time, we recognize that many of the homeowners and property owners that actually pay property taxes are the ones who usually can afford the small increase that it would take to continue to have what is a great community. And we have an excellent quality of life here in Grand Falls-Windsor. I hear it all the time from people particularly people from other places who have moved here who said, wow, we didn't get this where we were before. We didn't see that kind of support for this particular thing. And it's something that I know exists, the sentiment, and it's good to be able to do that because that's what it's all about, quality of life. And when we got good quality of life here, and we talk about the need for a new community center, which is great, not only because of the aging infrastructure, but just because we need to have that infrastructure in order to have people move here, professionals, who are going to have their families and want to have the top-of-the-line pools and the top-of-the-line ice rinks and those sorts of things. And of course, we hadn't had the improvements to our facilities like many other communities had, roughly 20 years ago or so. Instead, we renovated. So that makes our infrastructure that much older. Stadium, 1948, pool, 1975, I believe. And obviously, that costs a lot of money. The debt ratio in Grand Falls-Windsor remains good. We're looking at around 12% now, I think, Mr. Goss. 11, yeah, so lower. And they suggest that, you should keep it below 20. So we've been doing good in that area as well. The main cost of the town, you talk about whatever you want out of the budget, is a $24 million budget. The big cost is HR. We've got roughly 62% of our budget goes to employees. And they're great employees all around, and they are very busy. And people don't recognize behind the scenes some of the work that's done here. The protective services and the additional position is needed for MEOs. And people, we want, and I'll mention again, I believe strongly that we need to do some videos that show people a behind-the-scenes look, because nobody in this town realizes what our MEOs do. They don't, and I can't blame them for that. How could they? So we need to show people what our MEOs do on a regular basis. We need to show them what our snowplow operators have to deal with in these snowstorms, and our water, which is near pristine leaving our plant. And we've got 80, 100-year-old infrastructure in places which obviously is going to cause problems, not unlike other communities. And the other big cost is public works. The cost to provide the services. Those are the big costs in our budget. And those are the things that are essential. And when you talk about capital projects, your water and sewer, your paving projects, your things that you use the capital funding from the province through the Municipal Capital Works Program to put towards, that money has not changed from the province in years. We've been still getting the same amount that we got 6, 7, 8 years ago. And it's not enough. You never have near enough money for what you really need, and you're always juggling to try to meet the challenges, and it certainly is difficult. And as I say, you talk about, an eye-opener on council, and Councillor Noel had said it, anybody in this town, and how could they know what it's like behind the scenes? But if any new councillor comes in here in the future, which they will, or whoever sits in this chair in the future, I can guarantee you every person is going to have an eye-opening experience when they come in and they see really what goes on behind the scenes. And that's just a fact. And there's lots of things out of our control. I won't get into that again, but it's frustrating at times when government regulates or government controls, and we can't make sometimes the simplest of decisions that to the average person in town would say, why don't you just do that? And I agree. But unfortunately, legislation sometimes says other. We've also, in response to some of the infrastructure problems that are causing water issues, we spent a lot of money last year with new valves and new flushing valves and new infrastructure and equipment at the water treatment plant. And now we're looking at the orsophosphate material that's going to hopefully make a big difference. And we've been putting a lot of money into trying to fix these problems. And, you know, I get it, people want clean water all the time, and I don't blame them. But, you know, when you talk about behind the scenes, what goes on, it's not as easy as one would think, you know? And the mayor, current mayor, is included in the people who's frustrated with water issues, as you guys all know, for the last number of years. And I wish we didn't have to do that, but we are addressing it the best we can. When you talk about future, you know, the community center, we've got riverfront development that continues to come together. Gorge Park is a beautiful, well-used facility. The trail that goes along the river. We've got the beautiful Salmonoid Interpretation Center, a world-class facility that is looking to make upgrades, improvements to make it even better. We want to put a suspension bridge across our river to attract visitors. We have zip lining, we have water rafting, there's hunting, fishing opportunities. It's a wealth of opportunity for tourism, and connected to that is the recent, of course, finally, us getting access to the road on the Abitibi property, which will allow this town sometime in the near future to connect Scott Avenue and Tulip Drive, which would allow traffic to come off either east or west, Scott Avenue or Tulip Drive, and come right to all that the downtown riverfront has to offer. And, you know, I didn't mention the Heritage Society and the Grand Falls House property and the community gardens, and, you know, the list goes on. There's lots of good things there, and development will continue there. I really don't think I have anything else to mention specifically. Again, I just believe that it's, I'm proud to be mayor of this town. It's a good town. The people are good. The living is good. Yeah, we always have some issues at times, and everybody's has the right to be able to feel how they want. But when you look at news anywhere else in the world, or even in the country, or even in the country south of us, you say, we're so lucky to live where we do. And really, sometimes it takes big things to put it in perspective, but I believe that is a fact that I would die by. So with that, it's our people, our volunteers that I'd like to thank, the people at the food bank who give their time always for the betterment of the community. We've got all the people who volunteer for the Happy Tree, for the Salvation Army group, for the, you know, the kettle that's going on now, and there's a ton of things, the community groups in town who give back. That's what the community is built on. And we've got many people who do give back to the community, and together, that's what makes a great town, in my opinion. So with that, I'll clue up and I'll say that I certainly will be supporting this budget. And I look to Councillor Cody to see if she has any closing remarks.
Just some brief ones, just because everybody has said so much already, but I just want to say thanks to the mayor for moving me into the lead role for finance, moving right into the budget to be able to deliver this speech. And, you know, I might be in that lead role to deliver the message, but we're all leads when we're developing the budget and doing the work. Our staff, our directors, the staff who are preparing the documents, compiling the information, pulling the files, operating the equipment, identifying needs. We're all in a lead role when we're doing this work. So, you know, it's not lost on us that this is an election year in 2025. We'd love nothing more than to be able to say, no increases, we got, you know, we're gonna sail through and that'll be a 2025 council problem. Well, no, we don't do this to be popular. This is a job, and I say that so often. People don't understand the amount of time, the amount of work, the amount of preparation, the amount of knowledge that's necessary to do this job. And I encourage anybody who is interested in becoming involved in municipal council to do your research and be prepared. When you put your name on that ballot, be prepared to do the work, because this is no joke. This is serious work. And I take so much pride in being able to work with the fantastic team that I have around me here in Grand Falls-Windsor. You know, everybody who plays a part in doing the work to make Grand Falls-Windsor such a wonderful community. You know, I'm so thankful to all of them. So I just want to encourage, you know, it's a difficult decision to say that there's going to be an increase, but we do it with the best of intentions, fact-based. You know, this is not pick a number out of the sky. I mean, this is hours and hours and hours of deliberation of this is what we need, this is what we can afford, this is what we can afford if we cut this or if we do that. If we make some alterations here and there, you know, we can do different things. So, you know, it's important that people do recognize that. How do we create more revenue in our community? Business development and residential development. I encourage our residents, when we're rezoning land, when we're rezoning development areas, when we're reaching out to businesses to come into our community, please keep an open mind. If we don't have land developed, if we get pushback every time we try to rezone a neighborhood, you know, it'll be increase after increase after increase every single year to maintain the services that we provide, because there'll be no additional revenue coming in. Times have changed. People, you know, a lot of people are no longer interested in the big family home. They're not having as many children. They're staying single longer. They're not having children, or they're relocating from other areas and downsizing. You know, we have people in this community with big homes who are looking to move out of the large home into a smaller dwelling that's more comfortable for them, and they can't find a place to live in the community. So we need to maintain our population currently, but we also have to have places for people to come into our community. When they come here, they want to stay. But until they get here and experience what Grand Falls-Windsor has to offer, then they don't know. They can go anywhere. So when you're attracting new families, you know, new professionals, whoever it is you're trying to attract to your community, they have to have places to live. And we're doing our best to provide them with the type of housing that they're interested in, whether it's a big family home, whether it's a garden suite, whether it's a quadplex, or whether it's a tiny home. We need to be able to provide that to our residents. So the work that we're doing with infrastructure upgrades, redevelopment, rezoning, you know, that'll all contribute to the amount of revenue that we can generate in our community to make sure that we can continue to provide the services that our residents are accustomed to, but also the services that they deserve. So, you know, again, a big thank you to all of the staff, the directors, and to council for the hours that you put in, the work that you do, and for your support around the table here tonight. It certainly means a lot. I know it means a lot to staff, because they're the ones who are preparing these documents and bringing us the information and helping us form the decisions that, you know, that we're making here tonight. So thank you to everyone for that.
Thank you, Councilor Cody. Okay, we got one more thing to do on that resolution. We got a mover and a seconder on the 2025 budget. So with that, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor? Aye. Contrary minded? Motion carried. Okay. We do have some other business, I guess, is on the agenda before adjournment, and I think given that we've been here longer tonight and, you know, the main focus is the budget, that we'll do a once around. I'm sure everybody wants to say greetings to the community given the time of year. Christmas season's upon us, but if we could all keep it brief, that would be appreciated, I'm sure, by everybody, okay? So I'm going to start with Deputy Mayor Brown, and I'm going to go counterclockwise again. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you. Mayor, just quickly, I'd like to thank all those involved in the Santa Claus Parade that happened in Grand Falls-Windsor a couple of weekends ago. A very, very successful event. Congratulate Wanda Healy, who co-chairs the Santa Claus Parade, for all her volunteer work in ensuring that the parade was the huge success it was. And certainly to Councillor Hiscock and Councillor Cody for doing the play-by-play. And Rogers joined the parade as well and did a great job, I'm sure. And to keep Christ in Christmas March quickly was another huge success. The attendance for that event was up significantly over last year. And I'd like to thank former Mayor Walvin Blackmore, who's happened to be here this evening, for coordinating all that and making that event a regular occasion during Christmas, as it should be. And while I'm on Mayor Blackmore, I need to congratulate him, for he received the 75th anniversary of Confederation Medal and certificate for his work with community development. So we congratulate you, sir. Thank you. Very well done. And finally, the town of Grand Falls-Windsor always puts a float in the Santa Claus Parade, and it's always done to perfection. The town of Grand Falls-Windsor float is not eligible for prizes because it's our own float, of course. But I'd like to thank Debbie Rideout and Dave Bartlett, Ed Davis, Charlie Payne, and Johnny Golding for their work in preparing what was an excellent float. And just in closing, Mayor, I'd like to wish everybody in Grand Falls-Windsor a very, very Merry Christmas, to our employees who work so hard to keep things going in our town. Underappreciated sometimes, but we know that there's a significant amount of work being done by our employees on an hourly, daily, weekly, and monthly basis. So Merry Christmas to everyone. Christmas is about joy and peace and happiness and love, and we hope that everybody gets to experience that during the Christmas season. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Brown. Councillor Dwyer.
Thank you, Mayor. Just want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. The Church Road Park light-up was last week. It was exceptional. It was magical. And town did an exceptional job once again preparing the park for that evening. It was my first time, and I'm sure many of our first time, walking on the new pavement that was there in the trail. And we say all the time that accessibility is necessary for some, but it benefits everyone. And that night it was quite clear when you saw people there, not only in wheelchairs, but new parents with strollers and walking side by side. It was really nice. Anyway, Merry Christmas. Thank
To Councillor Dwyer. Councillor Little.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd just like to say Merry Christmas to everyone on council and all our staff and citizens in our community. And that's all for me. Thank you.
To Councillor Little. Councillor Hiscock.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd just like to start off by sad note, we lost Leslie White. Early Saturday morning, Leslie, a longtime resident of Grand Falls-Windsor. Of course, Leslie was a veteran of the Royal Canadian Navy, and it was a shipboard injury that caused him to have to leave the Navy. And of course, he came back to his hometown, Grand Falls-Windsor, worked in the paper mill for many years. Big time volunteer and member of the Royal Canadian Legion, 70 years with the Royal Canadian Legion. So condolences to all the family. And also right now, Mr. Mayor, just like to say to you, all of my fellow councillors and their staff, citizens of Grand Falls-Windsor, have yourself a very Merry Christmas. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hiscock. Councillor Noel.
Thank you, Mayor. I should just say ditto. Just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas. Take some time to relax, and it's not about what's under the tree, but the people around it. You hear that said so often, and I really believe that more so today in my aging years than ever before. But I want to take a minute as well. I was on Hardy Avenue today, and I did not know that we were having drag races. So the new MEO position will be well needed, and at certain times, I mean, it was. So I asked some people to slow down. I mean, zing, 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 and they're floating by me today numerous times. And being an avid outdoors person, I was out on the ice last Monday, just testing it because I've got a Y chromosome. And, I just encourage other people, no, it's not safe, but I was just in the backyard. And, mild thaw, freezing, everything's iced over. The Exploits River's iced over. It's caught over. I was surprised how fast it caught over again, given the mild that we had. So I really want to ask people to be safe when they're out and about, because people will be, and we don't want any other tragedies. It seems that we always have a tragedy at this time, and again in April, people testing the limits of ice. So take a minute to check that or even stay off if at all possible. But beyond that, I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Councillor Knoll. Councillor Cody.
Thank you, and just a little congratulations to Northcliffe Drama Club. I attended, as I try to every year, their reading of A Christmas Carol at the Memorial United Church. And every year they just take a monetary donation for the food bank, and I tell you, it's more than entertaining. There's no theatrics or anything like that. They're just stood at their microphones and they're reading A Christmas Carol. But I tell you, Scott Sims, oh my gosh, not politician Scott Sims, drama teacher extraordinaire Scott Sims. I tell you, like Oscar worthy, like chef's kiss, just amazing. He's so into the role, and it's just a pure delight to watch him and watch all of those who participate in that reading. And I'm always a little disappointed that they don't have more people who come out and watch that. I think it's probably just because it's late in the season, and they probably just don't understand how entertaining it actually is. But they did live stream it this year. And it is available on the Memorial United Church Facebook page, and you can watch it. And I guarantee you watch it, you'll be there in person next year because it is just so fabulous. So they raised over $1,000 in cash donations at the door, and then the Northcliffe Drama Club themselves contributed $300, so over $1,300 to the Grand Falls-Windsor Bishops Falls Community Food Bank, just in a very small number of people who came out just to, really enjoy that performance and get in the Christmas spirit. So hats off to them for that. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year to you, this great team, all our staff, the residents of this community, from my family, myself and my children, Isaac, Faith, and Teresa. This is my town. I love it. And this is where I want to be, and it's because of everybody in it. We're truly a town, and we take care of each other. So I wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Please be safe. Don't drink and drive. We've got kids home from university. School is going to be shutting down in the next couple of days for a nice little winter break. Christmas concerts are all done. Teachers are going to be able to kick up their feet and relax for a little bit. And parents are going to crack up because the kids are home for the next couple of weeks. But it's going to be a lot of fun for sure. And one last thank you for me. I want to say thank you to Rogers. They're here, and now we have a new schedule, which means they're going to be here more. So thank you for what you do for the community, not just in showing our council meetings, but all the community work you do as well, the light up, the Santa Claus parade, different things that go on in the community. You always show up. We had a delay tonight. There were some equipment difficulties. Jeff could have said, I'm sorry, I can't broadcast the meeting tonight. He didn't. He said, I can fix it. I need 20 minutes. And he did. And he took off out of here. And thank God the new MEO is not started yet. But no, he safely and obeyed traffic laws back to Roger's office and picked up the equipment that he needed, came back here, hooked it up, and had us live for the residents, because this is an important meeting for the residents tonight. And it's important that they have an outlet. No other media here tonight. Rogers is here always. So thank you, Jeff. Thank you to your volunteers and your staff for always showing up. We appreciate it, and we wish you Merry Christmas. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaking of media, I got a story for everybody, but I'm going to keep that one for 2025. Yeah, Jeff, one of the people that was drag racing, guaranteed. But thanks to Rogers, obviously, Amy had said it well, and Jeff and company, a lot of volunteers as well. And to our buddy Rick Terry, who we don't see here as often now, not because of his doing, but he has been a great volunteer, and I want to make sure that we say Merry Christmas to Rick as well. And Merry Christmas to all my council colleagues, to all the staff, you know, our directors, our management staff, all our outside and inside workers, and everybody within the organization. I wish you a very Merry Christmas and a safe Christmas. Make sure that if you are in a position to help or give, that you do that. And you know, stay safe and make sure you're not drinking and driving. And lastly, on a personal note, I wanted to also send condolences to Mr. White, Les White, who was a fantastic man, delight to talk to, and certainly lived a good life. And I know I saw Tom Pinsent there, I think, recently, and he told me a story about Les since he's passed, and I don't think Les would mind me sharing. But when he got into the Navy, I believe he was in, you required grade 8 at the time. You know, Les was 93, 94, I guess, 90, okay, he's in 90. So you required grade 8. Les had grade 7. Him and a lot of his buddies had given up on that, and so Buddy told him he needed grade 7, and he went to his school and he asked for a letter to say that, and they gave him a letter saying that he got grade 7. So he went home and he got a pen and he marked it 7, he turned it into a 9, and he brought his letter to the recruitment office, and Buddy said, be on the bus next morning. So there you go, and they got a good man there. And also, on a personal note, Scott James, I wished Scott a happy 90th earlier this year in May, and Scott passed away last week, sadly, after a long illness. So condolences to his wife Lee and his sons, Paul and Brian, and to all the family. And Scott was a great contributor to this community, particularly through the Rotary Club. And he was a mechanical engineer in the mill, a very brilliant man. And of course, he was also a dedicated part of the Corduroy Brook Association and really drove that project forward for many, many years. So I wanted to mention that tonight on a sad note. But with that, I will call for a motion to adjourn. I hope everybody has a great Christmas, and again, stay safe. Councillor Dwyer, don't all jump to one time. I think 3 people put their hands up. Councillor Dwyer, and seconded by Councillor Little. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Counter-minded? Merry Christmas. We'll see you in 2025.
craft clubs. You can get your books. They have home delivery of books as
Oh,
well.
wow.
Right?
Okay.
You can call and tell them who your favorite author is or the genre of books that you like.
Yeah.
And they will select books for you and deliver it and come pick them up when you're done with them and bring you the next lot. So
Okay,
a
the
lot of
parade
things
is
happening.
just around the corner. I'm going to leave you two guys
Yes.
at it to do the play-by-play.
Thank you so very much.
And have a great morning.
You too.
And we'll
Thanks
see
for
everybody
this.
tomorrow evening at the Church Road Park for the light-up ceremony.
Absolutely.
And thanks for stopping by.
Okay, pleasure. And good luck with the rest of it. Take care.
And here we are now.
Yes.
Our parade is here. We have our municipal enforcement officers, our RCMP friends.
Yes.
Are here.
Absolutely.
Oh.
And great to see, as always, our emergency responders leading off the parade from municipal enforcement to our Royal Canadian Mounted Police, and then followed up by our fire department and our volunteer firefighters. And I know the kids, it's always such a treat for the children to see the flashing lights
Oh, yeah.
and, and to see the trucks, because everything is so impressive. And we also have quiet routes along
Yes,
our parade as
right,
well, which is
right.
very important for those with sensitivities. Because they want to get out and experience the parade, but a lot of times it's a lot of overstimulation for them, and they don't get the enjoyment that we would get from the lights and the sirens.
Right.
So it's so important to have those quiet routes along the parade as well.
Yes, yeah. And like you said, it's great that there's quiet areas, so these children or people with disabilities are not going to be affected by it, right?
That's
So-
right.
And we have, like I said, our fire rescue here.
Our full fleet is out today.
Yes, yeah.
This is great. We've even got our antique fire truck as well.
Yeah, yes, our old Ford is on the route, so that's great to see. And our friends here with Search and Rescue.
The search and rescue
Yeah.
never fails. It's not the Santa Claus parade till you get your calendar from the search and rescue.
There you go, Search and Rescue here, giving that calendars for 2025. and the work that Search and Rescue do within our community and all around Central. It's a great job by them.
And the amount of training that this group does is just so impressive.
Oh,
They're
my.
so involved in the community,
Yeah.
and all their fundraising efforts. I mean, you look at these two new trucks, their command center and their rescue truck, all fundraised, by volunteers and through the community. So, I mean, just such a fabulous, fabulous organization to
Oh.
be involved in.
Indeed so, because when you're home in bed and the phone rings, these guys are out and
Exactly.
it's not good. And, it's very, very, very dedicated, well-trained individuals who at a moment's notice are out there in all kinds of weather conditions and doing
Absolutely.
the best he can for hopefully a happy ending.
Yeah, and I don't know if anybody got to see the summer, but they did some helicopter rescues practices this summer down on Scott Avenue.
Wow.
And I know that did draw a huge crowd of people watching them do that.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool as well.
And they got a jet boat now that they do a lot of different things with, but they're, like I said, they're highly trained and well equipped.
Exactly.
Yeah, very, very dedicated individuals.
You can hear the excitement in the kids' voices here. Oh, everybody is just
Well, parade brings the kid out in
excited.
everyone, right?
I know. So excited to be here.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I see bubbles.
Oh, yeah, look.
Lots of bubbles.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
That is, I love it, a bubble machine.
Yeah.
And this is Pride Grand Falls-Windsor.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I would encourage our residents to follow the Pride Grand Falls-Windsor Facebook page. They do so many wonderful events and supporting the Pride community. And so wonderful to have them involved in our parade again this year.
Yeah. Yeah, they've been regulars the last number of years.
They have
For
been.
sure, yeah.
Yes.
We depend on them.
Yep. And a great place to go for support, guidance, camaraderie.
Yeah.
Just, so you're just to make sure that you have the supports that you need if you have questions, being involved in your community, and just such a wonderful group.
It's excellent. And we have Mars Motorsports, Chrysler.
Yes.
Yeah, Mars. So that's
I
that's
say
nice to
every
see.
year, feel free, Santa, to drop any of these vehicles off at
Yes.
my house for Christmas.
Don't even have to wrap it.
No, that's right.
Just
Don't
drop
even
it
need
there.
a bow. Just some gas, a full tank of
Yes,
gas.
there you go.
But always so thankful for all of the automobile dealerships in our community. You know, we're very fortunate to have such a wide variety of automobile dealers in our
Yeah.
community, and they always get out and support. So
They do,
it's,
yeah.
it's wonderful to see them all here. Now, this, the Sparkling Blades, what a beautiful float. The Polar Express. And my kids and I we used to watch this movie every single year.
Oh.
And then as they got older,
Yeah.
we kind of got away from it. But we were just talking about it again yesterday, saying we're going to start watching it again because it is just a beautiful movie and has such a wonderful message.
And what a great float, my gosh.
It is
a lot of work and
gorgeous.
effort